Not all. Following the barbaric killing of Dipu Chandra, yet another Hindu has been murdered. According to Bangladeshi media, 29-year-old Amrit Mandal, alias Samrat, was beaten to death by a violent mob late on Wednesday. Somehow, the shock and horror of it all is drowning, because Bangladesh continues to sink into the abyss of hatred and jihadist violence. Given that a church was the target on Christmas Eve, let's remind you of the violence perpetrated against the Christians in Bangladesh. One that's not new. In fact, it is cyclical in nature. Christians, though less than 1% of the population, have long faced hostility from militant Islamist groups. Sample this. Over 36 attacks have been reported on Christian properties since the ouster of Sheikh Hasina in August last year. More than 100 families have either fled or renounced faith under duress. Churches have been vandalized, priests threatened, and Christian schools torched by mobs chanting Islamist slogans. In fact, just last month, on 7th November, the historic St. Mary's Cathedral Church in Dhaka was attacked with crude bombs. Keep in mind that it's one of Bangladesh's oldest Christian landmarks. Rewind to 2014 and the home of Soren Kubi, a relative of the Bishop of Mymensingh, was attacked and looted by extremists. But the attackers walked free. And in 2001, a devastating bombing in a Roman Catholic church in Gopalganj killed 10 people. A crime never properly prosecuted till date. Wonder why the US president is still silent? Ironically, it was Donald Trump who actively mobilized the Christian vote during his election campaign, projecting himself as God's chosen one. Let me remind you that the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has already documented this violence. Their report states that Jamaat-linked mobs have been involved in revenge attacks since last year's July uprising. Their targets? Predictably enough, the minorities, Hindus, Christians, Buddhists and Ahmadiyas. But this is no revelation. What's more alarming than the attacks themselves is the state's silence. The failure to condemn, prevent or punish these atrocities. It's not just incompetence, but complicity to surrender Bangladesh to the terror-linked jihadists. Is this the Naya Bangladesh, the persecutor's paradise? That's a question we'll be posing to our guests today. I'm joined in by Veena Sikri, who's a former Indian High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Salahuddin Shoaib Chaudhry, who's a Bangladesh journalist, also joined in by Nirmal Rosario, who's the president of Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council. Thank you, Ambassador and the gentlemen, for joining in. Nirmal, I want to begin by wishing you a Merry Christmas, but I don't want to, in fact, add insult to injury today. The figures shared by your council were over 2,400 as far as the minority killings in Bangladesh is concerned. But given the recent bout of violence, could you enlighten our viewers? And do you have any estimate of the new current figures? Where do they stand?
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you all. And there's things you have mentioned almost is correct. And the things, the position of the Christians in Bangladesh and the minority community as a whole, we are facing challenges. You know, in 2001, the Gopalganj killing was held, and afterward, during 2012, there was a killing at Banpara, that is Sunil Gomez, and our one pastor was been Parlerius, a Italian priest who had been shot down. So that was the situation, and now the situation has become more difficult for the Christians and as well as the minority community in Bangladesh.
Do you have any idea of the figures? Because your council has been actively sharing figures, one that was also endorsed by India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar. So can you give us any idea in terms of how many Hindus, Christians, Buddhists are being targeted? There's a lot going on social media. Unfortunately, because of the dissent on Bangladeshi media, none of that is filtering through any verified sources. So I just want you to give us an estimate.
No, sir. Estimations are what we have given on behalf of Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council. It was 2010, and first up to October last year. Then later on, there was an incident that is around 70 or like, and almost more than 2,300 incident has been occurred here in after the fall of the government, Awami League government. So it is very tensionious for us and very sad for us that such a big number of incidents happened, and there was killing or raping and other attacks
So
on
you're
the
saying in
houses of
this recent
minorities.
bout of violence also rapes are happening? Are Hindu villages again being targeted?
Yeah. It is happening, and it is also happening to the hill area, that is CST area and other area, and the minority peoples. We are feeling some sort of insecurity, and before few days, now several churches were being targeted, and Tesgam Church and the Cathedral Church at Kakrail, and some
Okay.
one church, one church is at Asad Gate, and different churches were being targeted, bomb thrown and blasted there. And finally, the day before yesterday, you heard, and I visited the place yesterday. It is at Romna, in front of our national NCCB, National Churches
Okay.
Committee.
So thank you for
Yeah.
putting those
That's
facts
right.
out there for all our viewers here. We
Yeah.
are a globally watched channel. Your information will in fact be disseminated all across the globe. I quickly want to bring in Shoaib on that note. Shoaib, two letters were written to local churches on 2nd of December warning them of a possible terror attack. Yet this explosion takes place in Dhaka near a church. What explains
Yeah.
this complete failure? Are the jihadist radicals outnumbering the forces on the ground? What is Mohammed Yunus doing?
Pardon. So what?
That question's for
Actually,
Shoaib. Shoaib.
Thank you very much,
yeah.
Akanksha. As you know that it's not only as just we heard what is happening with the Christians in Bangladesh. I mean, Hindus are the worst victims of these Islamists and jihadist Christians as well.
In fact,
And
we've just now broken the news of another Hindu being
Exactly,
beaten to death.
exactly.
yes,
Not only the Christians and the Hindus and
Right.
so
Buddhists, and the indigenous people. They are suffered, and you have seen the one Hadi was been killed, and our Dipu Dash been beaten, killed, and hanged and burnt. It is so pathetic when I have seen this picture, and I cried myself. So how people can do that? The people beaten, then died, and hang and fire, and
Oh,
that is
absolutely not. In
we have
fact, just
we have
hours ago,
never experienced such.
you have another Hindu youth being
Yeah.
beaten to
Yeah.
death. Amrit Mandal, we
Yeah.
are flashing
So,
his picture on screen
yeah.
as we speak. Shoaib, if I could bring you in on this complete lawlessness, but as I said, on 2nd of December, 2 letters were written and yet no protection provided to churches and their adjacent areas. Shoaib.
So the protection.
Let Shoaib
you
speak.
see,
Mr. Rosario, that's questions for Shoaib.
Akanksha, thank you. You see, we are very much worried about what has happened to Dipu Chandra just a few days ago. And now the latest victim is Amrit Mandal in Rajbari. And unfortunately, the state missionary or the so-called members of the regime, no one visited the house of the Dipu Chandra. And now Amrit Mandal, they are giving him an allegation. They gave false allegation on Dipu Chandra of blasphemy, and they are putting.
And now he's being labeled as an extortionist. Look at the misinformation that's at play over here.
Yes, and now they are giving the similar, another funny allegations against Amrit Mandal, saying he's an extortionist. So as if every Hindu, they will bring a bad allegation, and then they give the right to the mobs to kill, lynch the Hindu. This is, with my due apology to Her Excellency Ambassador Sikh, I would like to say, the Bangladesh that she has seen when she was High Commissioner here, and now this is a completely different Bangladesh, as if Bangladesh has become a hellish inferno especially for the Hindus. Christians, yes, but Hindus, I mean, I am seeing everywhere, all around. Hindus are, I'd like to also, with your very kind permission, Akanksha, I would like to bring another very serious issue. That since the last year's jihadist coup, no Hindu family can arrange marriage for their daughter. If
What?
and when yes, if and when the family wants to arrange a marriage, the hooligans, the mobsters, they arrive, demand a particular amount of money, and then what they say is very, even I am ashamed of saying this thing, they say, you give this money or give your daughter to us for one night.
Wow.
This is happening in Bangladesh. I'm saying on record.
I'm shocked, to say the least. Since when has this been happening? No guess is needed. Since July uprising?
And you know me very well because I am actually speaking out every time. Everyone is ashamed. I mean, they don't want to say, but it is a crime for being a journalist that.
Who's an extortionist out here? I want to quickly bring in Ambassador Sikri. Yes. Ambassador, thank you so much for so patiently awaiting your turn. Is this the Bangladesh you had ever imagined? Isn't this disrespecting the Bengali soul?
Absolutely. I mean, this is absolutely going back to the pre-1971 situation. And actually, in 71, the people of Bangladesh fought to overcome the Pakistani, focus on just religion at the expense of culture. And the dream of 1971, the Liberation War of 1971, the dream embodied in the Constitution of Bangladesh was to have a Bangladesh which will have democracy and secularism and nationalism and social justice. Culture and religion are two sides of the same coin. Both are very, very important. But you cannot do one without the other. And if you do, then the Bengaliness is gone. And in fact, what the Jamaat-e-Islami controlled regime of Muhammad Yunus, they are actually going back to bringing Pakistan in to the pre-1971 command and control structure. It is shocking, absolutely shocking to hear that after the terrible lynching, barbaric lynching of Dipu Chandra, now another person, Amrit Mandal, has been beaten to death. It is shocking to hear from Nirmal Rosario about the churches, how they
weigh in on Shoaib's point. It's shocking to hear that if you want to marry off your Hindu daughter, you have to pay these Jamaatis an amount of money to get your daughter married within your community. Otherwise, hand over your daughters to the jihadists.
May I tell you something? That this is exactly what the terrorists from Pakistan were doing in Jammu and Kashmir, telling the Kashmiri Pandits that you give us money or give us your daughter. And this is exactly why that exodus took place and it was allowed to take place. So this is the Pakistani tactics that are being brought entirely, the Pakistani terrorist tactics that are being brought entirely into Bangladesh, and they're trying to convert it into what many call a Bengali Pakistan. And this is absolutely shocking. They're embedding themselves with the Bangladesh army. And can you imagine on this holy occasion of Christmas today, and we want to wish Merry Christmas to all our participants.
That's why I want to bring in Nirmal. How was Christmas in Bangladesh? Were you able to attend the morning, were you able to go to church? Were you able to attend the press service in the church? Nirmal Rosario?
Yes, today on the Christmas occasion, so usually our people go to the church on Sunday, and sometimes on the other day also they go to the church, and Sunday is the main. And yet we do not have any sort of hinders, but hinders we have still this sort of things, attacking attitude. And
but how was Christmas today, Nirmal? If I may ask you, for your loved ones, your family members, how did it go?
So then people go. Then sometimes they are afraid of, and they sometimes they do not go. And if they see they go when the situation is good, they go, and when the situation is not good, then they abstain from attending the church. These sort of things happening sometimes. But this was not earlier, but this is the new phenomenon we have seeing this time. So I think it is a challenge, and interim government we asked for security, and we sat with the home advisor for home ministry, and we have sat with the police IGP, Inspector General of Police, and then for Dhaka DMP Commissioner, and all the superintendent of police SP
Okay.
in the district level.
Okay.
They took part over actually virtually, and instruction had been given, but still that
It's just
there
been
was a
reduced to
little
mere lip
problem,
service.
and we have
Shoaib,
seen
I
that
want to
this
bring you in
thing has been
on
just
how
happened.
priests are being attacked, on equally importantly, schools are being attacked. Remember, many of these Christian schools cater to a majority of children. What will this mean for education in Bangladesh today?
Yeah, question to me?
Yes, Shoaib.
Okay. You see, I mean, what can I say? Because Bangladesh this is a unique society, I should say now, not now, for decades.
Right, because correct me if I'm wrong, there was a school also targeted just days ago, St. Joseph, right?
Yes, St. Joseph School. So what I want to say, that this is actually the fault of our leaders, who have been practicing political Islam, and which teaches everyone to hate who is not a Muslim. And I would like to again beg your apology, Akanksha, and say that in the eyes of a Muslim who follows political Islam, everyone else who is not a Muslim is infidel, and they are destined to hell. So this is the perception, mindset. Everyone is growing. Thanks God that I was not within that group, but very, very dangerous. If you go to journalists,
you're the ray of hope. You're the ray of hope. We still have Muslims like you who are secular, who are Sufi, who believe in the secular fabric of this world, not just in Bangladesh. And I want to quickly...
any journalist, Akansha, 1 second. You go to any journalist, any newspaper, any media, they are also following the political Islam. Very, very vicious and poisonous atmosphere. And actually, I cannot even explain to you what is the situation. Hopefully you understand. And Her Excellency can actually explain it far more in detail.
I want to bring in Ambassador on that note. Ambassador, a nation which is gripped by fear, by atrocities against the minorities, which has seen a complete breakdown of its cultural identity, where these jihadist flags are flying high unchallenged. Do you think such a country has the right to send UN peacekeeping troops to conflict-prone zone?
You're absolutely right. I think the first restriction that should be put on Bangladesh is that they troops cannot participate in UN peacekeeping operations because they have violated all the conditions. Army control, they brought in complete Jamaat-e-Islami control. They're not holding free, fair and inclusive elections. They're attacking the minorities consistently for the last 18 months, right up to the present day. Even after the lynching, when there was a world outcry, but still homes are being set on fire, churches are being attacked. Amrit Mandal has been again beaten to death, being falsely blamed. Last time it was blasphemy for Dipu Chandra, now it is extortionism for him. We know these are all fake, trumped up charges. So I think the world community, I'm glad your channel is discussing it, because this message has to reach the world community, and more opprobrium must pour onto the Yunus regime for doing this. Unless he is held responsible for this, there can be no lasting community. There's no point if you have restrictive elections so as to allow all this to continue. You are allowing restrictive elections so that the Jamaat-e-Islami can come to power, and all this will continue. So what is this that is happening? It cannot be allowed. There must be free, fair and inclusive elections where all political parties take part, and everybody who is a political party, so that the people can have a stable government and all this can end.
In fact, we speak on a day when Tariq Rahman has made that return, but many are already questioning how connected is an absentee politician or a leader when he's been missing from the country for nearly 18 years? Will he even understand the pulse of the nation? I want to give quick closing thoughts to Nirmal Rosario. Nirmal Rosario, as the head of the BHBCUC, do you have a message for Mohammed Yunus? Has your council reached out to him? Have there been any kind of outreach that's been made by the Mohammed Yunus regime so far?
So our request is to protect our minority people. So there's a Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, and that protections should be ensured for all the citizens of the country. So it will be a priority one level, and sometimes our community people, those living in the hillside, also hill tracks area, and the Greater Mymensingh area. We ask to Professor Yunus so that the security measure is being taken for them, and then so that they can move freely.
Okay.
And their hesitations and the fear they are feeling it should be removed from.
So let this Christmas be a call for peace, unity and tolerance in Bangladesh. No country is safe where the vulnerable groups, especially the minorities, feel safe. And in fact, leave this discussion at that. Many thanks to you, Ambassador Sikri and the gentleman for joining in. I still would like to end by wishing you all a Merry Christmas. There's, remember, a huge controversy which has broken out in Tollywood, but that's already rocked the entire nation. This over remarks made by famous Telugu actor Sivaji. The actor reiterated that actresses should dress quote-unquote modestly at events. In his public address, he cited the last incident at Lulu Mall, where actress Nidhi Agarwal was mobbed at a movie event by a swarm of unruly fans hurling towards her, leading to chaos and panic, even manhandling her. But shockingly enough, this is what Sivaji has said, and let me quote. What if Nidhi Agarwal's clothes had slipped off that day at Lulu Mall? Naturally, this comment has not been taken well by the actress, who was quick to respond to Sivaji on social media. In a single sentence she posted alongside her picture from the event, she called out the actor, saying blaming the victim is called manipulation. And that's not all. He came up with a lame apology as well, where he in fact equated women, according to him, who should be treated like mother-like figures, saying they for him are like Amma, even calling them Shakti. But again, that raises another very unsettling problem out here. Should women be pedestalized as goddesses or as the mother figure all the time? In fact, singer Chinmayi Sripaada has criticized Telugu actor Sivaji for his remarks, calling his comments outdated and disrespectful. The controversy began when Sivaji, who recently played the antagonist in the film Court, addressed the audience while praising the female host for wearing a sari. The actor's comments, which were widely criticized as unsolicited and moralizing, sparked strong reactions from social media users and several members of the film fraternity. He then shared a video message expressing regret over his statements made at the event and said that the intention was not to demean anyone. A day later, he mentioned that the two recent incidents of Samantha Ruth Prabhu and Nidhi Agarwal are being mauled, in which they're being mauled by fans, even blamed Nidhi's choice of clothing, saying that women should not be showing their quote-unquote physical assets and should be dressed in complete attires like the sari. Listen in.
చాలామంది నిన్న కామెంట్స్లో కొన్ని పదాలు వాడారమ్మా, నాకు ఆశ్చర్యం వేసింది ఆ పదాలు. ఎప్పుడన్నా సాయి పల్లవిని ఎవరన్నా టచ్ చేశారా? ఎప్పుడన్నా అనుష్కని ఎవరన్నా టచ్ చేశారా? ఎప్పుడన్నా సౌందర్య గారిని ఎవరన్నా టచ్ చేసిన సందర్భాలు విన్నామా? ఇలా చాలామంది లయాని ఎవరన్నా ఆమెను చూడగానే మా ఇంట్లో అమ్మాయి అని అంటారు. ఆవిడ మీరా జాస్మిన్ నిండుగా, మలయాళీస్ అందరు కూడా బయట నిండుగా శారీస్ కట్టుకొని వస్తారు. నేను మిమ్మల్ని అందరూ అమ్మ దండం పెడతా, మీరు ఎట్టొచ్చినా మీ ఇష్టం, నాకు సంబంధం లేదు. అలాగే ఒక నిమిషం లక్ష్మి గారు, ఒక నిమిషం నన్ను మాట్లాడండి. అలాగే భూమిక గారిని ఎన్నోసార్లు వచ్చింది ఆవిడ. ఎవరన్నా టచ్ చేశారు ఆవిడ్ని?
Chinmayi also joins us on the broadcast today. Thank you for speaking up as always, Chinmayi. Now, with regards to Sivaji's comments, to quote your post on X, you say the more he speaks, the more he's exposing how misogynistic, unsafe this space is for women who work with men like him, where they justify barbaric behavior of men. Can you expand? Why are you saying so?
See, I think his first apology itself was, highly. It was almost as if, why should I even apologize? The apology was basically very perfunctory, and he just ended up giving those two lines because he was kind of ordered to do so. But he went on to rant for the next, I think, half an hour, 45 minutes or something like that, where it was a, live press meet where he said that, an actress like this who dresses like this, he named a list of 5 or 6 people saying that they're all in saris. Actually, one of the events that he is mentioning, I think your colleague also mentioned that, Samantha also, attended another event. She was in a sari. However, Mr. Shivaji has caveats on how much the sari should cover and how much it is. And he says, mana pillalu, chinna pillalu, what do they know? He says, all of these boys who will, the moment they see a girl dressed in a certain way,
Right.
they'll think to themselves that, oh, now this woman is asking for it. So they will start competing with each other to, abuse, harass, molest. This is what he's actually intending. He doesn't use those exact
Chinmayi,
words.
this is exactly the mindset that today we need to attack. Let's dissect the deep-rooted misogyny and hypocrisy behind his comments. On one hand, he says, I request all heroines not to wear revealing outfits. Beauty lies in complete attire or a sari, not in displaying quote-unquote physical assets. Then why demand heroines to show flesh on screen?
Well, I think the market, and then at that point they'll say this is what sells, this is what is required for the. I mean, whatever the stories are, right? End of the day, they'll find a way to justify that when it comes to a business or however it is that they want to justify these things in life. However, I think what is far more problematic is the number of people who have also spoken up in support of him. Especially, it is sad that the number of women and men saying that his intention is right. There is nothing wrong in how he's saying. If you don't cover up, then you will come out in public and you will get abused and exploited.
You should name them.
No, there are like a whole lot of people. So there are these actresses that he's also named saying, these actresses cover themselves. Has anything
Rashmika is
happened
one
to
of
them?
them.
Yes, but the fact is not Rashmika,
Yes.
but he's mentioned Sai Pallavi, Anushka. Anushka actually went on to publicly say that she was harassed at an event and she lost sleep over it. Sai Pallavi's recent photographs were morphed. Even Soundarya, the lovely, beautiful actress, poor thing, we lost her like some 10, 12, 15 years ago, I think, to a helicopter crash in an event. Even her images have been recently morphed. And one of the most disgusting things on Telugu social media is what they call as the SPU versus the MTU. I don't even know if I can say this on national television, but there is actually a Twitter trend on whose urine would you like to drink?
Oh, God.
This is the kind of thought process that is happening. And this is about women who are completely clothed according to his demands. So the bigger problem to address here is how they are justifying the assault, harassment, and abuse of women in public spaces. And when women speak up about this in social media, a lot of us, constantly get abused and harassed. And, even Anasuya has been subject to a lot of sexist and slurs, actually, which even I have been, subject to. There are people who will say that they'll, file false cases against me and my husband and things like that. So this is an inherent deep-rooted misogyny where the system also doesn't really help. One good thing about the Telangana and the Telugu film industry is that there is a sanstha called the Voice of Women,
Yes.
who has, as an organization, they do put out these statements to condemn and also ask for accountability. Horrendous
It
sexist
goes
slurs,
beyond
unbelievable.
abuse, Chinmayi. I'm sure you'll agree to that because
Yeah.
it takes immense courage to come forward and expose predators who are in positions of power. And you've done that when you fronted the Me Too movement in the Tamil film industry. Tell me, did you have a cost to pay, and why do women suffer, whether silent or vocal?
Yes, I did have a very big, cost, a huge cost to pay. I am a singer. I've sung in multiple languages. I'm a multiple award-winning singer and a voice actor. And I outed my molester, who also has been named by at least 18, 19 other women in public spaces, either with their identity, redacted, or a few of us actually came and came in front of the camera and said he is our molester. And very promptly, the dubbing union in Tamil Nadu banned me, helmed by Mr. Radha Ravi. And that's a case that is sub judice for at least 8 years and still counting. But
Imagine.
one good thing that did happen is that I had an opportunity to sing a song in a song on stage, and that kind of brought me, people got reminded, that I'm still a good singer. However, the fact that almost 7.5, 8 years of my life completely being erased because the man that I named is politically powerful,
Okay.
politically connected, plus the man who banned me was also involved in political parties. So there is a cost to pay, and I was okay with that because I could sustain myself otherwise. But there are so many women within the industry who get openly asked for sexual favors. You do this or you will be ruined, sort of a thing. It still continues. And the kind of support, because for the last 8, 9 years, all of us have been asking industries to set up ICCs and POXO units,
Yes,
because they
yes.
do actively involve and hire children. But one thing that I do want to tell about the Telugu Film Chamber and the women in Telugu industry is that they actually did set up, wherever there were women who were producers, who were owning studios, they set up these ICCs, and they said, if you are feeling uncomfortable here, you can come and report to us. I do not find that in most other places.
Joining me is one such leading voice, is Anasuya Bharadwaj, who's a leading and renowned actor. Thank you so much, Anasuya, for joining in and for speaking up, more importantly. You've in fact even wished a speedy recovery to Sivaji. You say that he has a long way to recovery. Why do you say so?
Because he's clearly sick. The way he's thinking is sick. The intentions are so maligning. He just, I don't know what to call, I seriously sympathize with him and everybody who thinks alike. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
So anyone who's thinking like him are on a long way to recovery, and I wish them speedy recovery, because they are not actually addressing the issue there, rather than manipulating and being narcissistic in a way to blame the victim, shame the victim.
Anasuya, I want to quote what he's had to say with regards to the words you had put out there. He's gone on to say, yes, I am insecure about my heroines who are attacked, and I'm worried about unexpected incidents. She said that I pity him. I thank Anasuya for showing pity on me. What do you make of this kind of attack?
I want you to extend what else he said after that, because it looked to me and many others that he is intimidating. I repeat, he is condescending.
Yes,
He's
he
actually
is.
provoking others so that he gets an opportunity to take my support, to be on my side when people behave in such manners. What is he trying to say there? What is he calling out?
What do you make of this deep-rooted mindset of misogyny, which is often in the garb of pedestalizing women? Look at the apology also. I want to bring it to your attention.
Like an apology.
It doesn't sound like an apology. Also equating the woman, pedestalizing the woman with either Amma, as he says, or say Ma Shakti. Women don't need to be pedestalized. What are those, say, yardsticks of virtue, perfection used for male actors and men in this society?
Never.
I'm sorry you have to go through this. I'm really, really sorry you have to go through this.
I have been, this is not the first time I was put through something like this. I have always stood up for me and many who hesitate to stand up and speak up. And I've never regretted a bit of it. I think if this is the path and way I have to go through the tunnel to reach to the light that I am hoping one day all of us equally are able to live by choice and not I strongly feel that I'm very, very right now.
I can see
shaken.
you're overwhelmed. I can
Yeah,
see
I
you're
am.
overwhelmed, and perhaps your reaction in itself speaks volumes of what women in your industry across India, across the globe, we are looking at the Me Too movement, which began in Hollywood as well, have to go through, which is why I think it's important.
I want to press here particularly of this actor who had the audacity to come, put up a press meet, sit alone and play the victim card himself, that he meant nothing and हुआ तो मुझे मरण शिक्षा विधिंचंडी, like he was just playing with everyone's emotions there, and it was very twisting, and he is very sick and he should not be given a chance. I seriously wish such people have to be called out and not be allowed. Whoever are not understanding the importance of their position, why they are given a platform to speak.
And primarily, who gives them the authority, the moral right to question what women ought to be wearing? Look at the shocking statement he made at the press conference. To quote him verbatim, important to refer to his statement because this kind of misogyny deserves exposing. I request all heroines not to wear revealing outfits. Beauty lies in complete attire or a sari, not in displaying physical assets. Why was Samantha attacked then? She was in a sari. And what explains demanding women to show flesh on screen then?
How dare anybody uses the terms and make it a discussion on public platforms like that? Physical assets? Excuse me. I've always been very, very... I condemn the usage of item songs when there is a special actor, special performance for a special attention in any film. You are supposed to call that a special appearance, special song, not item. If people were in that frame of mind when I called out way before, like 7-8 years ago, people did not understand. Many did not understand. आज ये दिन देखना नहीं पड़ता कि ऐसे actor जो experience के है, who is actually an older actor in experience and also by age, इतना हिम्मत नहीं मिलता कि stage पे खड़े होके बोल सके कि assets. How dare? I mean, who gave him that authority? Okay. It has to start with words and approach.
The US Department of Justice has disclosed that it has identified nearly 1 million additional documents linked to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. The newly discovered material has led to fresh scrutiny as new names and pictures like Michael Jackson, Bill Clinton and Woody Allen have surfaced in the expanding cache of records. But the Epstein saga is far from over. Why? Because US President Donald Trump is facing massive backlash. And why so? Here's the full story.
The Jeffrey Epstein case is growing again. A massive trove of documents continue to be unearthed. More than 1 million additional papers that could be linked to Epstein. These files were not part of earlier releases, and officials say it could take weeks before the public sees them. This comes as questions grow louder over what is in the Epstein files, who is named, and why the releases keep getting delayed. The US Justice Department says the FBI and federal prosecutors in New York recently uncovered over 1 million more documents tied to the Epstein case. Officials have not explained where the files were found or why they were not discovered earlier. The Justice Department says lawyers are now reviewing the material to remove names and details that could identify victims. Officials say this review could take a few more weeks. The delay has drawn anger from lawmakers who say the department has already missed a legal deadline to release all Epstein records by the 19th of December. Congress passed a new law called the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It ordered the Justice Department to release all remaining Epstein records. The law allows reductions only to protect victims, ongoing investigations, or national security. It does not allow reductions to protect reputations. Lawmakers from both parties say too much information has been blacked out. Some accuse the Justice Department of withholding material illegally. Others say the slow, batch-by-batch release is creating more confusion than clarity. Among the documents already released are FBI emails from 2019. They refer to 10 possible co-conspirators linked to Jeffrey Epstein. The emails say 6 of them had already been served with subpoenas. Those subpoenas were sent to people in Florida, Boston, New York City, and Connecticut. 4 others have not yet been served at the time, including one described as a wealthy businessman in Ohio. Most names in the emails are redacted. 2 names are not. One is of Ghislaine Maxwell, who is already serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking. The other is Les Wexner, a former business associate of Epstein. Wexner's lawyers say he was never a target, never charged, and fully cooperated with investigators. The files also include references to President Donald Trump. An internal email from federal prosecutors says that Trump flew on Epstein's private jet 8 times between 1993 and 1996. The Justice Department says travel on the jet does not mean wrongdoing. Trump has denied any involvement in Epstein's crimes. Officials also say some documents include untrue and sensational claims made against Trump, mostly submitted to the FBI just before the 2020 election. The department has warned the public that not everything in the files should be treated as fact. President Trump is also part of another controversy over Christmas calls with children from across the country. In a clip that has now gone viral, Trump is seen speaking to an 8-year-old girl on the phone, calling her voice beautiful and cute. It's now being shared widely online as Epstein-related documents continue to be released.
Good. I'm fine. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
I'm 8.
Wow, so smart. You sound so smart.
The files contain hundreds of photos seized from Epstein's homes. Some show politicians, celebrities, and business leaders socializing with Epstein. Among them are images of former President Bill Clinton, the late pop star Michael Jackson, and filmmaker Woody Allen. Being pictured with Epstein does not mean any wrongdoing. Many of those named or photographed have denied any involvement in crimes. Some images have disappeared from the DOJ website after publication, adding to claims of mishandling. The discovery of more than 1 million new documents means the Epstein story is far from over. More names could surface and more questions could follow.
Let's try and quickly get in a perspective. In fact, this is a CNN News 18 exclusive. We are joined in by one of the Epstein survivors, Marina Laceda, who's joining us live from Florida. She originally met Epstein when she was just 14 years old. Marina, thank you for joining in. It's deeply unfortunate that you have to revisit this trauma time and again in your fight for justice. You were just 14 when Epstein started abusing you. You've also spoken about how Epstein would demand school IDs of these underage victims and would in fact turn furious if the girls were above the age of 18. Share your experience with us.
Yes, hi, thank you for having me. And yes, Jeffrey Epstein was a very demanding person. He did make sure that all the girls that I did bring there were the under age 18. When I first went there myself, I had a Jane Doe take me, and I was, 14, and she was older than me. And it was such a traumatizing experience at first, because when we arrived there, when she told me about it, it was not what, was supposed to happen. And then other things happened, and I never thought I was going to go back, but he manipulated me, and he, him and the girl, the Jane Doe, had me believe that, there were, future expectations, as in, helping myself, who comes from Brazil, and, was just very, excited about the, make it in America. And it just turned into something that I thought was going to be, a lifetime, experience, and, becoming so, successful, and it ended up being something completely different. So that's how I really ended up in Jeffrey Epstein's hands. And, today I like to say, yes, something traumatizing, something awful happened to me, but I'm thankfully here now today, turning this and using my voice to inspire and, hopefully reach out to women who are silent to please break their silence, not only with the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, but with many other abuses.
I'm quite shocked and taken aback by the revelation. So, to get a deeper understanding into this, given Jeffrey Epstein's high-profile connections, I also want to ask you, were you or any of the other survivors that you've been in touch with sent to other high-profile celebrities or personalities?
He did not send myself. As my friends go, I'm not sure. We really don't talk about it. It's something that all my friends don't like to really speak about it. And I think that what happens is that everyone gets a little scared and ashamed of talking about it, especially my friends. I know there are a lot of victims and survivors that are out there, but it is very tough.
You have called the latest release of Epstein files a slap in the face of victims. Do you believe the government is orchestrating a cover-up out here?
We are very confused on what is going on here. The DOJ really had one job here, and it was really to protect the victims and to bring these wealthy, powerful men to justice. And we've seen that they are failing at that. And, it's what I like to say, this has become a completely circus act. Everyone's dehumanizing us at this point. It is something that is very serious. It happened, we had our first claim with any pharma in 1996. And, when we look back at these things and we go, wow, what has been done since 1996? They completely ignored it. They still continue to ignore it. They still continue to not protect us, leak our names in these files. And we think it's, at this point, we're not thinking that it was something accidental that the DOJ did. It is most likely, and it looks like to me that it is done, on purpose to really silence us. But we as survivors are frustrated. We are mad. We are annoyed. We have come to a point where we will not stop fighting, and we don't care how long President Trump or the DOJ, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, all these people, this is what we like to call the team, right? And again, we are not here because we are Republicans, we're Democrat, and we are rooting for one party or another. We are here bipartisan. We are here to speak on behalf of the survivors and also all other survivors around the world who have gone through abuse.
Right.
This is a very, very important moment, not only in America, but in the whole world. The whole world is waiting for these files to get released and some justice to be brought.
So help me understand, since you're saying that these files are heavily redacted, the truth has been hidden, what was Jeffrey Epstein's modus operandi? How would he operate? How many girls would he hire? You say that you were hired as a masseuse. How was he treating you and the other survivors?
Well, so, when the girl told me, she did tell me that we were going to go to do a massage, and this wealthy, powerful man, I did not know who he was. Again, there was no Google back then, so it was very hard to kind of figure out who was who. Mm-hmm. And she said, hey, listen, I was going through a tough time. My stepfather had abused me from the age of 12, and then he went to jail. So the age of 13 to almost, 14, when I just turned 14, I met this young girl, and she said, hey, I have a really very nice gig, cool gig for you. And she explained a few things, but did not explain everything. And when I got there, it was very, very much totally the opposite. It went from just doing a massage to, taking off my clothes and then, wanting him to, touch me in places that were very inappropriate. It did not happen the first time. I did go back. I was very vulnerable. Like I said, I was taking care of my sister and my mother at the time. We lived in one bedroom in a 4-bedroom apartment. And it was just very, very tough. And I think people sometimes get confused with women at my age now because they look at me as a woman. They also have to understand, we have women getting catfished and getting abused at the age of 30, 40 years old. It is completely, something that does happen to everybody. So, people always like to victim shame, but the reason why I think it's so important for everyone to speak and not to stay silent is to reach the justice level where people are bringing these men to justice, is what we're trying to do today. So yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about your other question. I
No,
apologize.
I can totally imagine how overwhelmed you are, given that you have to time and again revisit such trauma. But it's ironical that none of the latest release have Donald Trump's mention in it. Trump's supporters have in fact gone on to laud his turnaround to support the Epstein Files Transparency Act. Do you think that Donald Trump's support can be taken on face value? Is it even genuine?
I think that it's more, it's taken so long, right? And the files that we look at it today are not the actual files. They are just indictments and, just things that were supposed to happen in the 2019 court system, in a court party. And it just, that's what's bringing to light. There's really no files here that are really being presented. And I think the public gets very confused with that because there is no files out yet. This is what we like to say, 10% of the files. And why is it 10%? It's really only 2019. Okay, and these are just FBI notes. These are indictments. These are just things that are already made public, and they just dumped it on us to distract us, to say, hey, listen, here, you have something. No, this is already out. This is not the actual files. Where is, and the reason why they let out the 1996 claim with any farmer, it was because there was the Bill Clinton administration. That is the only reason why. So again, the Republican Party is trying to make this, why have you waited this long? We've waited this long? No. President Trump, you promised this. This is something you promised. We never asked for it, okay? You let the John F. Kennedy files out. You've let all these other things out. Why can't you just let the Jeffrey Epstein files out? Because we do think that he is involved. And by the emails, by the pictures that we've seen so far, he is very much involved, whether he wants to admit it or not. He says that, oh, well, everybody in New York who was wealthy and powerful knew Jeffrey Epstein. That is not true. His neighbor is very wealthy, very powerful. And he literally lived 8 steps away from Jeffrey Epstein. And he went to Jeffrey Epstein's house one time with his wife. And when he got there, he was creeped out about it, and he literally turned to his wife and was like, when they walked out and they walked back to their house, they turned to each other and said they would never go back there because he looked like a creep, and he was a creep. And Donald Trump can make all excuses that he wants. He wasn't friends with him, and then he is friends with him. He wasn't invited to the island, and it's like, we don't care. We want to know who are in these files and the men that need to be brought to justice.
Absolutely. It is going to be a long fight for justice indeed, given the double standards and hypocrisy of the current administration out there in the United States. But many thanks to you, Marina, and I'm sure you will find light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you for joining in.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Nirmal, I want to begin by wishing you Merry Christmas, but I don't want to, in fact, add insult to injury today. The figures shared by your council were over 2,400 as far as the minority killings in Bangladesh is concerned. But given the recent bout of violence, could you enlighten our viewers, and do you have any estimate of the new current figures? Where do they stand?
Thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to you all. And there's things you have mentioned, almost is correct. And the things, the position of the Christians in Bangladesh and the minority community as a whole, we are facing challenges. In 2001, the Gopalganj killing was held, and afterward, during 2012, there was a killing at Banpara, that is Sunil Gomez. and our one pastor was been Parlerius, a Italian priest who had been shot down. So that was the situation, and now the situation has become more difficult for the Christians and as well as the minority community in Bangladesh.
Do you have any idea of the figures? Because your council has been actively sharing figures, one that was also endorsed by India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar. So can you give us any idea in terms of how many Hindus, Christians, Buddhists are being targeted? There's a lot going on social media. Unfortunately, because of the dissent on Bangladeshi media, none of that is filtering through any verified sources. So I just want you to give us an estimate.
No, sir, estimations of what we have given on behalf of Bangladesh Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council, it was 2010, first up to October last year. Then later on, there was an incident that is around 70 or like, and almost more than 2,300 incident has been occurred here after the fall of the government, Awami government. So it is very tensionious for us and very sad for us that such a big number of incidents happened, and there was killing or raping and other attacks on
so you're saying in this recent
minorities.
bout of violence also rapes are happening? Are Hindu villages again being targeted?
Yeah. So it is happening, and it is also happening to the hill area, that is CST area and other area. And minority peoples, we are feeling some sort of insecurity. And before few days, several churches were being targeted, and Tezgam Church and the Cathedral Church at Kakrail, and some other one church is at Asad Gate, and different churches were being targeted, bomb thrown and blasted there. And finally, the day before yesterday, you have heard, and I visited the place yesterday. It is at Romna, in front of our national NCCB, National Churches Committee.
Okay. So thank you for putting those facts out there for all our viewers here. We are a globally watched channel. Your information will in fact be disseminated all across the globe. I quickly want to bring in Shoaib on that note. Shoaib, 2 letters were written to local churches on 2nd of December warning them of a possible terror attack. Yet this explosion takes place in Dhaka near a church. What explains this complete failure? Are the jihadist radicals outnumbering the forces on the ground? What is Mohammed Yunus doing?
Pardon? Sir, what?